Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to EXFL T1 Season 13. We are going to start promptly off with a lap with Sam and Drake Lee around the Abu Dhabi circuit, down into turn 5, obviously the first purple sector 1. We are here in Abu Dhabi where both championships have already been wrapped up, so it's essentially playing for pride here. And will the person who has won both championships, JJ, will he attempt to do anything to, you know, go further in the championship lead, or will he try and put this one a bit ease? I don't know, and we'll find out. Sam and Drake Lee up to the second sector split. It's a 52-0 for the Ferrari. And through the final 90 section, as I didn't even notice Frankie, fastest lap 1:22.9, so that is the lap to beat for Samuel Drake Lee. So Lee must have been going quicker than the Aston Martin because there are two purple sectors appearing on screen. But up to the line, where does the Ferrari go? The Ferrari goes fastest by 7/10 of a second. And next person to be on a flying lap will be Danny, I think. Although going off the sector times, probably not the quickest attempt, with all due respect. We'll probably try and zoom in on anyone else who's on the flying lap. Red Fire Tiger's on a lap, Jaden's on a lap, Stelios is going into the first sector of his lap of 17.1. I think we'll follow Red Fire Tiger on his flying lap. Up to the second sector split. It is purple, a 51.9 in the middle for the Mercedes. So can he put it past the Ferrari and repeat what has just been 2026 all over? Frankie in the final sector ran out of fuel. Will he impede the approaching Mercedes? I don't think it'll be an issue because now one is in the pit lane, one is approaching the final corner. Up to the line, where does Red Fire Tiger and his Mercedes go? He goes up to second, a 1:22.521, 3/10 off the pole. As Jaden now across the line, where does he go? He used his deploy before the final corner up to the line, and it is provisional pole for Jaden for 1:22 flat. Behind him, Andreas starts his final flying lap as Samuel Drake Lee puts it into the pit lane, as Stelios will now spin across the line. That is a front wing damage for the Sauber, as now JJ on his flying lap, a 52.2 in the middle sector. Will this be anything to note for from the Tier 1 champion? We'll find out. 5% battery already out before the final corner. Can he pull any strings out to go fast? Well, he goes fast. It's 3-4 for the Williams, 22.6 on a lap, so follow him around. What did he do in the first sector? Let's just quickly go down and check. He did a 17.3 in the first sector for the Haas. Up to the middle sector split now. What will it be? It's a 52.4, and through the hairpinny swervy corny. Now going into the third technical sector. Right, left, then two rights, which will separate him from the checkered flag for his lap. Right, and right again as Jaden puts himself in the pit lane. Up to the line, where does Andreas go? Andreas up to the line, it's P6, slowest out of the current runners, a 1:23.1, 2/10 off his nearest competitor. As I think Stelios will be entering the pit lane, so person to monitor on a lap will be Danny. Here we go now, through start, finish straight, down into turn 1. Flick it left. Then another left. And then a right. Down the hill, where probably saw one of the most famous F1 overtakes of all time into this corner in 2021. Bit deep from the Red Bull, but it's purple sector 1 according to the mini-map. down one of the longest straights on the calendar. Obviously, outside of Formula 1, it is a drag strip. Anyway, braking towards the lifted curbs, does lock up a bit, up through the 8-9 chicane. Now onto the second part of the straight where the regional start-finish straight is, used for Formula 4 in Abu Dhabi. Fast, completed purple middle sector, 151.9, flicks it through, very detrimental on the battery going in. Now it's time for the first of many 90-degree corners, cuts it nicely through to the left-hander. Now doesn't try and lose it on the exit here, Nicholas Latifi corner, and through to the line, and Gani has managed to link the lap all the way here. Can he bring it home for anything good? He goes up to the line into 22.2, 282 for the Red Bull. It puts him in third place, less than 100th behind Samuel Drake Lee in the Ferrari. Anyway, I think we'll focus on Red Fire Tiger's lap. Currently P4, 122.5, just under 5 tenths off, just under 4.5 tenths off the pole lap set by the McLaren right now. Can he impress anything to go anywhere near? Can he halve the deficit? Can he go fastest? We'll find out in a second. As down into turn 1 goes the Mercedes. Nice and wide on the exit, try and link up the 1, 2, 3 section here. Useful on the battery, down into turn 4 and now turn 5. It's purple in the first sector according to the minimap, however I don't know if that is true purple. It's keeping very close to the outside wall here on the run down to turns God knows what chicane. Links it up, bit of a loose moment on the exit, and now 40% battery for the remainder of the straight. Keeps it very narrow. What can he do in the middle sector split? It's a 51.7, 2 tenths up on his personal attempt. It's apparently purple middle sector, but I don't know how much to believe that. So through the final sector now, right, left, then right, separates him from the finish of the lap. Nice and nimble through those corners now, the right-hander, which separates him in the final corner, through to the final corner now, and gets the power down, bit of a half spin on the exit. Red Fire Tiger up to the line. He is able to improve and goes up to third, only 100th behind the Ferrari in P2. Decent attempt from the Mercedes is JJ now. 52.1 in the middle sector, 1.5 tenths up on his personal attempt. Right now it doesn't improve his position, but it does improve his timing. I think Stelios just went across the line and went up to 5th, 122.3 for the Sauber. So currently he finds himself 2.5 tenths off of pole position. Anyway, what can JJ do? Here, obviously no pressure on him whatsoever, but he still probably would want to perform up to the line. Bit wide on the exit, and it's in the wall for the Williams. What can the McLaren do behind him? Jaden up to the line. He goes faster again. A 121.817 for the McLaren, and the gap that was just 1 and a bit tenths a minute ago is now 4.2 tenths. As JJ will be finding his way back to the pit lane, and Trias across the line, I think, went slightly quicker, but not enough to improve. Naris will be the next to properly cross the line, I think, with everyone else on like different stages of their laps. So now through turn 1 and turn 2 with the green lean machine. last week's race winner actually, out in Mexico on his return. 1:17.0 in the first sector. Purple, according to the statements, is now blasts the battery for nearly, I think it's like a kilometre long this straight. Make sure you don't invalidate stupidly. Brake on the bumped curbs, into the left, into the right. Make sure you don't go wide on the exit, and blast the battery 30% down into the hairpin. The 4 sector 2 split. What does the sector 2 split say? It's a 1:51.8 for the Sauber. Can he go any quicker than Jaden with a 1:21.8? He's ran out of battery before the final sequence of corners, which is quite an orthodox strategy, but you know, you have to be different to win. But Vinaris on the Nicholas Latifi corner invalidates and calls it into the pit lane. That would have been a pretty decent attempt if we just have a look at his sectors. 17.0 and a 51.8. Let's compare that to Jaden. Oh, missed. Oh, we'll just say it was a decent lap time, shall we? At the end of the race, in the qualifying, even what I'm talking about, come on, Grimsby. He'll be the first driver to come out of the pit lane. It'll be Samuel Drake Lee, the Ferrari in P2, currently 4 tenths behind pole. Can he close the deficit to the McLaren? We'll find out who's on pole in approximately 4 minutes time as the number 2 Ferrari. Quite weirdly enough, I thought he had a proper number signalled. He will start his attempt first. So, more drivers coming out the pit lane. That's Red Fire Tiger, followed by one of the Saubers, Vinaris, then Frankie, then Andreas, then Danny. So it's a bit of a chain out of the pit lane. Probably one of the most difficult pit lanes to navigate because it's the only one that goes underneath the track to let you leave. As Simon Drake Lee will be the first one to begin his flying lap, so customary, we will stick with him as he aims to try and close the deficit to the man on provisional pole right now. Through turn 1 goes the Ferrari. He nearly bounced over that sausage curb, and now turns 2 and 3 down into turn 4, not burning any battery. In the first sector, he lifts off quite early. Has he already accepted that he's not going to get a good lap in, or? Yeah, I think so. So expect this man to absolutely blast the chicane. Okay. Anyway, we'll go to the other person on a flying out. Red Fire Tiger just 100th behind Simon Drake Lee on his flying attempt. This will be literally one and done for the Red Bull, as he does go quite snappy on the exit. Red Bull, Mercedes, snappy on exit turn 1, but keeps it quite composed. Into the first sector split. He is down in the first sector by 500ths. So if he wants to do anything, he needs to improve fast. Once again, keeping it quite close to the wall. Swoops in for the braking zone. Very much on the limit there. Through the left, now the right. Bit of bouncy action from that Mercedes. Now blasts the 30% battery he owns into the second sector split. Where will this put the Mercedes? It's a 51.6. It's fastest in the middle sector apparently for Red Fire Tiger. 400 subs, so he's made up the advantage deficit in the first sector. The question is, where can this Mercedes go in comparison to Jaden's lap time? I mean, right now in the pit lane, Stelios has given up on his attempt, so he won't improve. He'll start 5th at best. In the pit lane right now, it is Turbo and... Oh yeah, Turbo and Square Giraffe. But Red Fire Tiger up to the line. He still has battery to spare. Where does the Red Mercedes go? 3/10 off pole. So it's an improvement, but he's not able to claim pole off of the McLaren as Naris. P2 for the Sauber. Where does Dantrias go? He's not able to improve. Frankie now. Where will he go? He invalidates, so he twats the pit lane wall. Danny up to the line. He goes to second. And now JJ. Can he do anything to disrupt the Jaden party? Up to the line. Where does JJ go? JJ goes 5th. So unless Samuel Drake Lee's got an answer, which I don't think he does, Jaden has absolutely stormed his way to pole position here. He wasn't able to improve on his final run, but we'll focus on Samuel Drake Lee's run, because this is basically McLaren versus Ferrari into the final corner. Where can Samuel Drake Lee go? Can he improve on his 6th place? Where does the Ferrari go? Ferrari's able to go up to 5th, but he's not able to go anywhere close to pole. So for the penultimate round of the season, Jaden is on pole. Christ. Pretty decent margin, that. Dun 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 dun. Do you have to know it? Know me inside out. I'm selfish and I'm lonely. Arm's length from talking, but you're going away. Oh, do you have to know me inside out? The triple K. Right, anyway. We will need to prepare because it is the penultimate round. It's not all to play for, but it's all to play for in terms of vanity. It's lights out and away we go. And from the mini-map, we see that Jaden has gone off the line well, and there's not much not much happening into turn one. So, you know, so far so good for the boys. As just not cause anything to happen, as you know, we do have to take the absolutely shortened layout, let the AI past, as and yeah, looking at the map, I can see, I presume it's the order is Jaden, Naris, Danny, JJ, Red, as they all pile into the turn 7-8 chicane, I think that is. I genuinely don't know what order that chicane is in, but as we now bounce over the curb. If that was someone's brake marker, I do apologise, as I've now got a bollard stuck underneath my car. But yeah, we will be the first ones retiring yet again, as I do have respect and honour for everyone else. I'm just too good if I beat everyone. Like, you know, I feel self-conscious if I absolutely smack everyone to pieces. As I will make my way through. Don't cock it up the Latifi corner, as that is a slow lap around the circuit of Abu Dhabi. Let's just try and not smash into the pit wall. There we go. And now we can actually and functionally commentate. Right, onboard view. There's not much surprise. We've got Jaden first, Naris in second, Danny in third. So I will just check the gains and losses. So far the biggest winners are Square Giraffe and JJ, both Williams. There's a bit of a lock-up from the other Williams. So let's just, I think this one might be useful. Well, like, I can't say I'm surprised, as Naris does take the lead of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Frankie takes the position of 8th from Square Giraffe, but Square Giraffe does look like he had the momentum. He's out of battery now. So the question here is, you know, what's the game plan? Because there's still a lot of laps to go. As I'm pretty sure Jaden just got a warning for track limits. As you know, Naris is they're all low going, yet like under fueling. 3 of the front runners are under fueling. So as Naris picks up the fastest lap of the race, as he will probably try and cut away from Jaden, really. Down into turn 5, DRS detection zone. It's a relatively early DRS detection zone for what it is. There's both drivers in the top 2 using battery to pull away. However, I will try and have to focus back on some of the backfield action, because there might be overtakes further down the field, but I'm more obsessed over the ones that are happening up ahead due to the more favourable positions Don't see any overtakes happening in this section here. However, to be fair, it's not really happening because everyone's in a DRS train of everyone. There's oh, you know what? These two are getting relatively close. Could we see an overtake? An unorthodox one would it be in this next section? As a Square Giraffe and Andreas are fighting. A bit of contact between the two causes them to pull away. I think Andreas takes the position off Square Giraffe, which leads him down into P10. Is there any damage on that Williams? I don't think there is. So both drivers go away cleanly from that incident, as that has allowed a 2-second buffer to marginate between the top 8 and the rest. As Andreas spins into the wall on the final corner, so that allows the Williams and now the V-Carb, who is in AI mode, to reclaim the position. However, we'll need to switch back after this. So now Andreas does have wing damage, but we'll have to focus back on this fight at the lead. 5/10's the gap, both burning battery. I'm also trying to look at time gaps to see if there's any other ones going smaller and smaller. Here we go into turns 7 and 8. Bit of a lockup from Naris. Jaden also slightly locks up, but here we are. Here we go. The drag race down into the hairpin. It's where Naris took the lead from lap 2. Can Jaden retake the lead on lap 4? And it's not even a challenge for the McLaren, and he's way ahead before the braking zone. So he's led 2 laps, and now he's led 2 laps as Andreas gets a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting. I presume that was the chicane. So we'll see what he wants to do. Braking a bit early. Could this be an early retirement for the Haas driver, who hasn't really made many appearances this season? And let's be honest, none of them have been really memorable from my best memory. Let's just have a look here. Nothing happening. We've seen it before where like a driver at the back just like has a crash out and just like ruins someone's race ahead. But Andreas into the pit lane, make sure he doesn't slam into the pit wall, which he very nearly does, to be fair. And now it is a 10-second penalty for the speeding, and it's a retirement. So now there's 10. Anyway, more fighting here. Naris got the DRS, and Jaden pulls to the inside. It's like there's not even a challenge there, but that is just DRS games from the top 2 there. So Naris back in the lead after losing it temporarily. But now, will Jaden use the DRS and the very little battery he has to power on through? They're side by side into the braking zone, but Jaden ahead by the braking zone. So had the lead for a moment and lost it immediately, did the Sauber. So 5 laps in, two people have led the race, and they've both shared it for an equal proportion. You know, while there's like no action going on, I might talk a little bit about what's next. Season 14 it will be aimed to be on the F126 DLC, but right now EA have been more quiet than, what's a good analogy? I don't know, they've just been really quiet about the DLC, and you know, there's been leaks going around that they're going to reveal it on X and Y date, but I think that's not really matter as Naris retakes the lead as the same old shenanigans again as Sammy Drake Lee also overtakes Stelios. So two Saubers, different scenarios. One been overtaken, the other one overtook. But I think it'll be a similar story last lap to this lap. But Jaden might not be too far close enough. So Jaden was too far back, so he's not able to get the position back like he did last lap. So for another lap, Jaden will be behind Naris, and he might have to go again on the main straight, you know. But yeah, now that there's no fighting happening, I'm just going to circle back to my point. EA have been deadly silent about the entire F1 20 seconds DLC, to the point where some people are speculating it might not even happen. So, you know, what's next? No one knows. I mean, one thing's for certain, I won't be there. You know, I know, what a shame. Tier 1 losing its best commentator in history as a Square Giraffe puts it into the pit lane. Is it an early pit stop or is it retirement for the Williams? I think it's an early pit stop, so we'll see where he comes out relative to the field, as I don't think anyone's affected by his pit stop, as well, Turbo overtaking him purely because he pitted, so not really much to talk about. Yeah, still, not many overtakes. I think Frankie's the one who's closest to his rival. Right now, 4/10 behind Stelios, but, you know, 4/10, you can't really start a fight from 4/10 back. You'd have to be closer. And the real issue is, now that I've noticed, this train has just split. It's the top 5 and then the 6, 7, 8. So, you know, Simon Drake Lee had a decent qualifying, just having looked, qualified 5th. I don't know if that's good for his standards. Has split the gap really, and now, oh, and speaking of that, that's not a good shine. He's a 3-second penalty on lap 7 for the Ferrari, who I can't remember his last few races. To be fair, it's been there's been few and far between for the Ferrari. However, I'm sure he's glad to be back racing. Obviously, that 3-second probably makes him suicidal a bit, but I think overall, can't really judge anything off a 3-second time penalty. But yeah, 8 laps in, I think, yeah, the field's split up again slightly. I think the closest is Red Fire Tiger to JJ, but you know, tell you what, you know, I'm just gonna hold on this fight because you can see those mediums start to struggle on everyone else. Red Fire Tiger on the hards. His favourite alternate strategy, he always likes to go with the opposite. I don't know why, but once again, he might put it to good use, or it might incredibly backfire on him again. You never know. I'm bored, I'm so ridiculous. You know what? This stream's just getting chat. I'll talk about my GCSEs. Why should the 16-year-old talk about GCSEs on a league stream? But who cares? I have finished my 2nd week of GCSE exams. I've still got 1, 2, 3 more to go, excluding the half term, which means my final exam, ironically, is a month today. So, you know, hopefully that all goes full and well. I get the grades I want. It's looking probably likely for certain, because we all know if something's easy, then the grade ranges are gonna shoot up. But you know, that's like, you know, so far, apart from one of the papers, they've been really nice to me. So we'll see about it really. Come the end of the exam season. As I'll just home back into the top 2 again, because it's really the closest 2 we've got so far. I think Square Giraffe is, I mean, this is just going to be an easy overtake for the Williams, isn't it? It's against an AI car, so if he struggles, then he might need to consider retiring, not only from the race. I mean, if there's a 2-stop, we could potentially see some drivers boxing now to offset the strategy. No one really utilising the pit lane just yet, so as we begin lap 10 of 29, we will see in the next few laps probably the first pitters. I mean, if you look at Jaden's tyres, they're both quite knackered. Obviously, this circuit, it's a very unique one. It's got a variety of painful lefts and painful rights, so both tyres do get to suffer this race. As Turbo is in the pit lane, so that is his AI doing the work for him. In the back, Frankie getting closer to the Sauber, but isn't able to overtake. Bit of a lock-up for both of them, to be fair. Bit of unstableness from both green cars at the back of the field, as that will probably conclude any sort of fighting we might see come the end of this lap. But you know what? Frankie is getting quite close. It could be a freeway fight for P6 here. Frankie tries to go around the outside, gets a lot of, well, a loss of grip going on the outside, so he's going to have to concede. And that allows Stelios to pull away slightly, close in on Samuel Drake Lee, who has now dropped 2.7 seconds to the top 5 now. Those tyres must need a break. He might need a break. And lap 11 continues. Still nothing happening. I think the next overtake we might see is Stelios and Sam or Jaden on Naris, because you know, it's another DRS dominated track. You know, like if you're not in DRS, you're gonna be cooked. But so far, it looks like we're not even gonna see an overtake in action right now. So you know, zooming back to Frankie and P8, no, still nothing. I'm just trying to spot the gaps to see if there's any getting bigger or smaller. I think soon we'll see first pitters. Oh, I mean, speaking of, yeah, there we go. Jaden, first one in the pit lane. Will anyone follow him in? Simon Drake Lee is in. And that concludes pitters in the top 8. So that promotes Red Fire Tiger and Stelios and also Frankie up a place. So hards bolted onto both cars. You just need to make sure no one went onto some medium stuff. But here we are now. New top 2 is Naris and now Danny in replacement of McLaren. So now it's just the waiting game for drivers like Red Fire Tiger, to be fair, who are on the hard. So now, you know, he needs to put those hards into fruition and absolutely send up the order to be able to build a gap for when the drivers behind him and ahead of him eventually pit. Overtake time? No overtake time. Of course there will be overtake time. Why would there be overtake time in Abu Dhabi? As well, there we go. Naris is in the pit lane. Don't speed. Nice, doesn't speed. So will anyone follow him in, or no? It's just the race leader pitting. So that promotes Danny to the race lead. As we'll see the overcut that Jaden has on Naris. Sauber straight away. Service at the end of the pit lane. Now it's a head-on-head fight. Who will be in the net race lead? Jaden's ahead as of now, and I think unless he's able to do anything, Jaden will be in the net lead of the race. If Naris comes out a long way away behind Jaden, and he does also have to make up the tyre temperature, so now it has an advantage to the McLaren, who has 10 seconds to make up to Frankie in 5th, and then it's a further 5 to reach the race lead. just looking at the top three. Will any of these be pitting? So Danny's in, and JJ's in with him. So Red Fire Tiger stays out. He will take the race lead. So it's race leader number 4 as neither of the drivers speed into the pit lane. So Frankie also stays out. That allows Stelios to pit. So, you know, here we are. Your top 2 is now Red Fire Tiger and Frankie. Where does Jaden come out in all this? Jaden has already surpassed all 3 drivers in the pit lane. The question is, will this be able to be replicated by Naris and Simon Drake Lee? Of course it can. So here we are, your net top 3 as Stelios has to... He's coming out the pit lane, so he'll have to try and overtake Square Giraffe, who I think is... I don't know his name, so I'm just not even going to try and guess. So here we are, your net top 3. You got Jaden, then Naris, Simon Drake Lee, with JJ peering behind him. So he'll see a line in his mirrors, the Ferrari, except for that god-awful rear wing as well. Focus back on the I'm presuming Frankie will box now. Yeah, it's the sensible decision on those tyres. Make sure you don't hit the wall. Oh Christ, that was close. Don't speed. Nice. So no drivers have paid the price for speeding in the pit lane. So now Frankie gets a fresh set of hards on. He has a hard on, and he will now try and chase after the drivers he was fighting with a mere 5 laps ago. Yeah, here we are. Here we have an overtake. It's a DRS overtake, but it's an overtake nonetheless. JJ gets past Samuel Drake Lee on 2 lap fresher hards. So he must have got tyre temp in them quickly because he dispatches of the Ferrari. And now he has 3.8 seconds to make up to Naris, and then a further 1.5 to Jaden. So Drake Lee still within DRS detection range of the Williams. However, that gap may soon disappear with the speed of that Duracell powered car. Oh Christ, no, my controller's gone to... Right, there we go. I hate when that happens. Right. Well, there's no surprise there. JJ sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far, 1:25.025. So it is game on here in Abu Dhabi. It really is. It's just I'm trying to hype myself up. It's been quite a snooze fest, to be fair. You know what? Let's get some absolute tunes on. Let's listen to this. Left, right. Is there Sandra? He does get closer. He's getting closer, but every time JJ gets further. Is Stelios? I missed it. It's a DRS overtake yet again, but Stelios gets past Square Giraffe, and I presume that same fate will happen to Frankie in about a few laps' time. It is 9 laps against fresh hards. I mean, regardless, we need to ignore that one. We need to focus on this fight. Square Giraffe around the outside of Stelios. He's not able to find the grip, so he's not able to fight for the position. So we are back to square one for the Williams. However, Frankie is getting within a second of him, so he could get past soon. Red Fire Tigers in the pit lanes after 16 laps on those hards. And, that promotes JJ to the podium and Simon Drake leads to 4th. And he will lose it right now with that 3-second penalty to 5th place Danny. As Red Fire Tiger falls all the way down to P9, painting on those mediums. But now he will have the fresh tyres. He will have the fresh tyres to hunt down the 3 cars ahead of him. Will he go down the inside of Frankie into turn 5? He goes down the inside, and not even 20 seconds after fitting those new tyres on, he is already on the case and has overtaken for P8. Yes, we're hyping up P8. We're that serious. However, can he also go around the outside or down the inside of Square Giraffe? He gets very close. He is up his gearbox now. As on the same time, Simon Drake Lee around the outside of FX7 Danny, and even before the apex, he's able to get the position as Red Fire Tiger on the back straight. He's able to pass the traffic as Frankie as well around the outside. So 2 for the price of 1, you could say. But Square Giraffe is giving it the fight to Frankie, but the fight has ended, and Square Giraffe is down into 9th after being in P7 not that long ago. As ow. Let's put some. Let's listen to that. Still trying to search for some overtakes, but this is the closest thing we've got to a multi-car fight here. Red Fire Tiger versus Stelios. Frankie, he'll be firsting both of them, and Square Giraffe, who's barely hanging on to the 3 of them, as Danny, with DRS, repasses Samuel Drake Lee. It's like I realised the overtake's happening before the overtake happens. But here we are, Red Fire Tiger again with DRS, so he's up into P6. Can Frankie repeat the act and get up into P7 himself? As Red Fire Tiger will use those mediums to pull away from the Sauber. And right now he's doing a pretty decent job of it because the gap is 6/10 of a second. Bit of a snap from Simon Drake Lee. Shouldn't hurt him that much. Oh, there we go. Red Fire Tiger, new fastest lap of the race. It's 1:24.868. I think we have the first contender back after the opening laps for the fight for the lead here. It's Vnaris in the Sauber, 80% battery against Jaden in the McLaren. Not much battery. Here we are. He pulls to the inside. Square Giraffe gets a 3-second. We'll ignore that as without any fight, it is Vnaris in the lead again. However, I think Jaden will use this trick again and re-overtake into the next zone. So we will just sit on the onboard with the McLaren and we just see him. We don't see him reel in the Sauber, but we will focus now on this fight between Frankie and Stelios. Stelios has allowed Red Fire Tiger to pull away a bit. The gap was just under a second a lap ago. Now it's over a second. Here we go. Frankie around the outside. And is there a fight there around the outside? Can he pull the move off? He gets a bit of a shove from Stelios, and around the outside, Frankie, beautiful move, up into P7 against a lighter counterpart. Stelios to the inside. Oh, and that is the Aston Martin round from hero to zero in the space of 20 seconds. And now that is basically it's a good move. It's an act of good gesture from Stelios to return the favour to Frankie, returning him in position as Square Giraffe finds himself in the pit lane again. So, as Frankie's warming up his tyres, I guess? I mean, I don't know what he's doing. I guess these two really want to fight each other, so the gap is now 9 seconds to Red Fire Tiger. So he has got a bit of a cushion behind in case he ever wants to regroup and think about ideas again. But, we'll have to focus on 2 separate fights here. We've got Stelios versus Frankie, and we also have the lead fight for the lead of the race, 7/10s between Naris and Jaden. However, I don't think that will be a problem for this lap at least, although that gap is getting closer and closer. I don't think Jaden can do anything with that gap. Neither can Stelios with Frankie. So, positions stay the same for the lap. However, I saw the squares get closer. Here we are. Wait, what? Oh, I'm an idiot. So, Turbo's been lapped, but it didn't show up on the thing that said he's lapped. So I thought he was fighting with someone, sacrilegically, and I genuinely thought my game was bugged, but turns out I'm just an idiot, so... we didn't know that already, did we? So anyway, lap 21 of 29. Hang on. Just reinforcing my brand deal with the best energy drink on planet Earth, aka Red Bull. All people who argue Monster's better can, well, they're all dead probably now, but regardless. I really hope Jaden doesn't, like, watch these streams back, like, when he's bored and thinks, like, you know, I'm gonna watch this when I'm bored, and I'm just saying this, like, absolute random shit on the stream. So, Jaden, if you're listening to this now, I do apologise, but, you know, I need to somehow build my platform, so at the end of the day, you know, it's gonna happen regardless if the stream gets struck or not. So, anyway, Stelios on Frankie. Will he go? Will he stay or will he go now? He stays for now, but that could mean he goes later, but Frankie does... go slow on the exit there, but that doesn't necessarily mean Stelios can pull alongside. So, once again, the gap stays around 5/10, as the gap to Red Fire Tiger from those two has grown by 2 seconds. Actually, yeah, it was like 9.1, now it's 10.9, closer to 11 actually, so, I don't know. Could be spewing absolute cack for all I know. As the gap from first and second is over a second now, but Jaden's still, well, it was over second for a second, and now it's back to under a second, 7/10 more specifically. But I'm just trying to switch between these two perspectives because I never know when there's going to be an overtake. Chances are, when I skip over the fact, there is going to be an overtake, but I don't think there'll be an overtake in this battle specifically, so that's safe, as I feel my controller clacking up again. As I might need some cheeky. I didn't miss any overtakes, did I? Yeah, I wasn't going to anyway, knowing my luck. But I just want a decent song. Like, I don't want... So, oh, okay, to be fair, that's a good song. Now, lap 23 of 29. 7 laps to go. Yes, I'm predicting a grade 9 in maths, and yet I'm still having to do how many laps is left because I'm an absolute thick idiot who cannot calculate to save his life, as I've got a message on WhatsApp. Let's see what it's about. I don't see any surprises apart from the fact that Turbo has been lapped by everyone up to P6 now, so next time he comes across drivers it will be the guys in P7 and P8. However, I don't think you'll have to worry about them for now because they're busy doing their own stuff right now. Frankie, bit of a lock-up into the chicane, or that could just be the newest F1 tech, I don't know, I don't care. Anyway, 30% battery versus 6 and DRS. He is closing. Will it be enough? We'll see. Around the outside, the attempt happens. Side by side, still side by side, and in the end, there's not enough grip for the overtake to be completed, and Frankie is able to remain in P7, although that was a pretty decent attempt, which could have ended in tears for both drivers. Just one snap and it's all over. 6 laps to go. You know, I might just check like overall gains and losses, just like while we're here. So everyone apart from the bottom 2 has done 1 stop. Biggest gain so far is JJ. Biggest loser so far is Red and Danny, both losing 2 positions. So far, the fastest lap is held by. Let me just go back to the tyre graphic. It is held by Red Fire Tiger, but I don't think that will matter, because I don't think you get a point for any fastest laps anytime. I think it's just for... Oh, I've just been speaking game chat for a decent chat. I do apologise. Bloody hell. As we are back in normal chat now. For some reason, it just like this. Xbox does like to do that sometimes, where it like sends you to game chat randomly. But I don't think anyone's in game chat, so you've had to even care. So... But yeah, lap 25 has begun, so still 5 laps to go, and still no answer to who's gonna win between Vinaris and Jaden. These two have been quite close together. I wouldn't say like glued together, because the gap has been revolving above 1 second, below 1 second, above 1 second, below 1 second. But you know, the point still stands that. And I'm going to use a Will Buxton quote here: whoever's first at the finish line wins the race. Yeah. Let me have a look at the championship standings, because you know, I might be useful to do some. Well, I mean, both championships have been sealed, so most of these drivers are racing purely for vanity. But I don't see any championship standings, because Jaden is what you call. No, I can't. No, so I have no standings to work off of. But my best guess. I don't know what my best guess is, but Samuel Drake Lee's in the pit lane, so that'll promote Red Fire Tiger to 5th. Probably Frankie to 6th and Stelios into 7th. However, I have just realised JJ has closed up to the top 2, so now it is very viable to say it's a top 3 battle for the win here in Abu Dhabi. Could it be Jaden's 2nd win of the season? Could it be JJ's whatever win of the season? Or can Vinaris go back-to-back and become the 2nd back-to-back winner this season? Obviously, the only other one being JJ. As you know, we'll have to look out. I think we might need to shove the fight between Stelios and Frankie to one side and focus on this freeweight fight for the lead now. You got the champion, you've got the man in 3rd, and you've got the man who's done 3 races and won 2 of them so far. Actually, that's a lie. He's raced 3, podium in the 1st, won the 2nd, and he's on track to win the 3rd. But he has done races before in the season. That's what I was trying to say. There we go. I can get my teeth in. Lap 27. 3 laps to go here in Abu Dhabi. I will have to discard this fight, because at the end of the day, it's for pennies in comparison to the race win here. So here we are now. 7 tenths separate 2nd and 3rd from each other, and 2nd and 7 tenths also separate the race lead from 2nd. But it looks like one's gaining more than the other, and they're both gaining simultaneously. As now through the chicane, and now blasting the battery on the back straight. I will have to try and look for both, because there's now a freeway fight for P6 as well, but I think a freeway fight for the lead is more prestigious than one for P6, but I will have to keep an eye on that just in case things go spicy. However, looking at the gaps right now, I don't think anything will be happening in that fight unless Stelios is able to conjure something up. He does, you know, and I've completely missed it, and Frankie has lost 2 positions in the space of 1 corner, and he will now have DRS to pull alongside, and now he'll be drag racing with Samuel Drake Lee into the hairpin. They've let Stelios get away a little bit, but now side by side into the hairpin, and Samuel Drake Lee's inside line and his soft tyres help him gain P7. However, it will be a 6-second penalty that decides everything. Where does Frankie go? Does Frankie go down the inside here like Stelios a few laps prior? No, he doesn't. He sits it out. Penultimate lap of the Grand Prix, and we have 2 fights to talk about. However, we need to head back to the first one, as I think Samuel Drake Lee will be, close or not, overtaking the car ahead of him anytime soon. We need to focus on this fight for the lead. 16 laps, 15, 16, 14 laps are the tyres, and now the discussion is who will be ahead at the end of the DRS straight. Will it be Naris? Will it be Jaden? Or will it be JJ? As it stands, JJ is going down the inside. He will be sending it to the inside of the McLaren. Down the inside, locks up. Bit of contact. That might allow Jaden to switch back him through the chicane. He's not able to get the grip down, so JJ is now open to second. The gap is 1 second between him and Naris, as Simon Drake Lee is able to make work of the Sauber with DRS, so I don't think there'll be any struggles for him there. Now we have to focus back on the fight for the lead. Top 3, Jaden has just lost second place to JJ, and now JJ 8 tenths behind Naris. Can he overtake and potentially win the race? Christ. But I don't think there'll be any challenging from Stelios or Frankie, as they have both got, they've lost a second, but they will be inside 6 seconds, hopefully, at the end of the race. So now we begin the final lap of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It's P1, 7 tenths to P2, 6 tenths to P3, and then Danny in P4 as Jaden goes very wide. What happened there? Might have just been a way of trying to mitigate how much time he loses from a mistake in the first corner, as into the first sector for the final time. Who will it be at the end of this strip? Will it be Naris? His fuel light is flashing red. Will it be JJ? He's got DRS and battery. Will it be Jaden? I don't think he'll be. He's already 7 tenths behind. But here we are, the final DRS straight of Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The penultimate race of the season, the final lap of the Grand Prix. Who will it be? It most likely will be decided on this back straight, Naris or JJ. Here we are into the hairpin. This is the last real overtaking opportunity, and if Naris has not been overtaken, so he might, I'm not saying has, he might have done enough. Here we are now into the right, left, right section, and unless Naris makes a grave mistake, he will win the race as Frankie gets a 10-second for corner cutting. However, I think it might be all over at the front as Naris comes across the line. Second driver to win back-to-back races this season, as he wins in Abu Dhabi in the penultimate showcase. And at the end, it's JJ in second, Jaden in third, Danny in fourth, Red in fifth, Samuel Drake Lee in 6th, who will drop to 7th, but not 8th, thanks to Frankie's 10-second penalty for corner cutting. So, Samuel Drake Lee across the line, he gets 6th. Stelios, he will take 6th, and Frankie does a spin across the line and stays 8th. Squared Giraffe, I think, like, God knows how long he's not raced, and he finishes 8th instead of Frankie. So Frankie in 9th. Anyway, I have been your commentator. This is me for the penultimate time, I think, for a while. So I hope whoever watches this back enjoyed this as much as I didn't. But